Welcome to the Sharon Decker podcast, where we share stories of who we love, what we love, and places we love in Western North Carolina. So settle in, listen up, and enjoy the show. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce you today to Emily Walker. Emily is an educator. She's a naturalist, an amazing woman when it comes to knowing animals and the outdoors and trees and plants and all those things. She's an incredible professional and all-around great person, and she's general manager at Chimney Rock Park. Emily, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I love the opportunity to talk with you because I love Chimney Rock Park. It's a North Carolina state park. And your role there is really managing all the educational programs, the visitor services, the concessions, all those kinds of things. You do an amazing job. It's such a special place to bring families. But I want to start with a conversation about Hurricane Helene. And folks know the park was closed for some time, but talk to me about the day of the storm and what happened and what's happened since.
Sure. Well, and I was thinking earlier today as I was going back through my notes and just in my photos and trying to relive the dates because it is kind of a blur, you're in it every day.
Yeah.
But for us, it really started the day before Helene. We had a ton of rain. We came down to the park. All of us got here that morning, and the river was getting high already. And this is
the day before
yes.
actual tropical storm came through. Yeah,
exactly. We'd had about 6 inches of rain, and we were nervous. We've always said, as long as we have a bridge, we're okay. And, but there is one way in and one way out. And that's something we've always been considerate of. So we went ahead and closed the park that day, evacuated all of our team and all of our animals just to be careful. And I've never been so grateful that we did anything, we never expected what was going to be the next day.
But when you say we evacuated our animals, what does that include?
So we have a small group of animal ambassadors that we teach with. So at the time, we had a groundhog, a chipmunk, a possum, and a handful of snakes, turtles, frogs, toads, that sort of thing. So
I assume they went home with you.
They did. So we have an off-site location where we house our birds of prey. And so that's our contingency plan. Literally, we have a plan with the USDA in these types of circumstances where the animals can go. So we moved them all there just to be cautious and with the expectation that we would be driving them back in another day or two.
Right.
And so, we woke up the morning of Helene. At the time, we all had power at our houses. We were communicating. We were all texting amongst the team. And then mid-morning, we got an email from one of our staff, the only staff that actually at the time lived here in the village. And he said, I'm at the firehouse. It isn't good. The bridge is gone. And then that was it. And then power went off everywhere. We all lost communication. And so we really weren't sure, what was happening down here. Yeah. Eventually later that afternoon, someone from the fire department was able to get in touch with our superintendent, I think is how that worked. And we got a phone call that our staff, he was safe, but that the bridge was gone and a lot of the village had been damaged. So it was a very overwhelming feeling, especially not being here to see it and understand.
How long was it before you could actually get into the park?
So the first day I was in the park was October 2nd. And so pretty soon after the storm, State Parks was on the ground immediately. Those rangers were incredible. They came in through the back side of the mountain, from more like the Edneyville area. And they were able to kind of assess things, and we didn't have any cell phone communication anywhere at that point. So I was able to go downtown Hendersonville and get on Wi-Fi from the Children's Museum and get in touch with our superintendent. And we met in the Blue Ridge Mall parking lot and just just to talk. And so, then we ended up coming down with one of the rangers on October 2nd, and it was, I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable.
And just overwhelming. Everybody says that once they got there, really seeing the reality of it was so hard. But I quickly have to say, y'all have done an amazing job of getting open again. How long were you actually closed?
So 9 months. We were closed for 9 months. We opened to the public June 27th, 2025.
2025.
Yep.
Yes.
We actually opened a week earlier for our pass holders so that they could come back first, because it is emotional, especially for those folks who have the strong tie to this place and wanted them to have a little bit of time on their own. So, but it was a great feeling to be able to reopen and to share this place with the people who love it so much.
Emily, I think so often about how quickly your team banded together. I mean, you all live in different places, all in the region, but you weren't physically together through this. You were in your homes and away, but how quickly you guys banded together to say, okay, we've got to do something. We've got to get back on our feet in some way, knowing it was going to be some time before the park opened. But just the energy, the passion that with which you said we can do something, and you very quickly went back into schools with your education program, right?
We did. If there's one thing we are good at Chimney Rock Management, it is the pivot. And
Yeah,
we're no stranger to
that's a
it. This
very
one,
important skill.
it is, especially in this world. And it just, although it was way more catastrophic than anything we've been through before, we've been through closures, we've been through landslide. We know kind of how to function. So immediately, of course, with your help and the Tryon International Equestrian Center letting us come there and set up a retail shop, we're able to put our retail staff back to work. Our
Right,
education staff started going out and teaching programs not only there at the equestrian center, but in schools, museums, libraries, and the support from
yeah,
these educational groups that called us. They would usually come to us for a field trip, but instead we took the field trip to them. It's not
right,
as fun. I mean, for the kids. I mean, of course, wasn't ideal, but it was
right,
amazing. And
right.
we had incredible education numbers that year. And not to mention all the opportunities down at the Equestrian Center to talk to guests during events. We got to have our
Right.
Groundhog Day. We didn't miss a year on our
Yes,
Groundhog Day. We got to,
I am confident we'll put some Groundhog Day pictures out there as we post this podcast, airing, because I want folks to see it. Talk about the Groundhog Day. That's a tradition in the park, and tell folks about that.
it is. And that was our 20th. And so I
Wow.
really didn't want to miss that event. Groundhog Day, of course, it's a fun activity that we
Yeah.
usually do. We bring out our resident groundhog. He or she at the time, depending, seeks their shadow and lets us know what their prediction is for weather. And they
I
also,
tell folks, excuse me for interrupting, Emily,
no,
but
you're good. You're good.
the guy up in the Northeast is not relevant in North
That's
Carolina.
right.
We
That's right.
listen to the groundhog of the South, who
That's
happens
right.
to live at Chimney Rock Park.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
Tater likes to make his predictions and he makes his Super Bowl prediction
Tater.
too.
Mhm.
Tater, yes.
Yeah.
And that event actually was the most well-attended Groundhog Day we've ever had, the one at the Equestrian Center. It
That's
was because it
awesome.
it fell on the and we had such fun activities for kids, and it was great. We did not expect it. I mean, we were shocked, but it was a lot of fun. And then, of course, our
And
Easter
and
sunrise service.
I think Tater was very excited about that.
He loves being famous, and, the more people, the more cookies, so to keep him
Yeah.
entertained, so,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great. Emily, the work you do as a naturalist and your team does in nature education, animal education, wildlife education is so important in our region. Talk a little bit about what you offer at the park on an ongoing basis. The park is open now. There may be some areas that you're continuing to work in. We'll be working for a long time, but the park is fully open and folks can come have access to everything. Talk about the educational programs you offer on a regular basis.
Sure. So we have all sorts of different education programs, and our state park partners also offer some. This year, because of America 250, the state rangers are focused a lot on North Carolina history, flag history. We have a bunch of events happening July 4th weekend. Our team is based a little bit more on the animal wildlife program. So every weekday during the summer at 2 o'clock, you can come up, have a program, meet some of our animal ambassadors, all of
Every
our
weekday at
every
2 o'clock,
weekday
all summer
now
long.
through yep, through, mid-August,
Wonderful.
whatever, 14th, I think. So, yeah, and it's a great way to share the story too, because our ambassadors all live with us for a reason. They're all non-releasable. And a lot of those reasons are from impacts of humans, not necessarily because they meant to, but so it's a great way to learn more about the wildlife, how you can coexist with them and support our local animals that we see roaming around here.
That's awesome. So I didn't realize it was every weekday, 2 o'clock. So moms and dads, aunts and uncles, grandparents that have children
Yes.
this summer and they're out of school. It's a great trip to Chimney Rock Park. And it's just the admission to the park, right? That's the only cost?
Yes, those programs are all added value. And if you're an annual pass holder and you live locally enough to come more than once a year, that's the best deal because it's, less expensive than admission tickets. And then there's no cost to come to any of those added value programs.
I really encourage folks to become annual members. If you live anywhere in Western North Carolina, if you think you'll be there more than twice a year, and you should be, it's a great place just to go for a hike, to take a walk, to just get some good exercise, as well as all the information and programs that are there. Get an annual membership. It's very inexpensive. Emily, what is it for the annual membership?
Yes, $34 for the adult.
Okay. For the entire year.
Yeah.
So you get all the information via their website. It comes to you in an email. I find it fascinating because you talk about the wildlife, about the natural habitats that are there, the things that are growing, and the unique plants that are there. It's very educational and it's really fun. And it reminds me to get out there and walk and spend some time on the mountain. So if folks are coming to Chimney Rock Park, I know there's been some concern. Well, I can't get there. It's not open. But basically, access is available to the park. There's no limitations in terms of folks getting into town, right?
That's right. So now you can either come from the west from Hendersonville. So if you're staying in the Asheville area, you can go down to the Hendersonville exit and cut through that way on Highway 64.
Yeah.
Or you can come from the east and come around Lake Lure from, Rutherford County, Polk County. And that's the easiest access for those coming from like Charlotte and Greenville and that sort of thing.
Right.
So we've got, our two main arteries are reopened to the public.
Good. So I won't emphasize that because a lot of information gets out there and a lot of misinformation gets out there, but the park is totally accessible, folks. There's no reason you can't drive in. The village is open for business and there are multiple places to grab a lunch or grab a dinner, depending on the time you're coming to the park. And there are plenty of places to pick up snacks and ice cream and all those kinds of things. Lake Lure has reopened. So the beach is actually open. So you can spend some time in the lake and in the sand. And there are just plenty of places to have fun. But the park is a special, special place. You mentioned you're going to do a number of things during the July 4th week. Tell us about that.
So yes, the weekend of July 4th, our Rangers are going to be doing some special programming. One of them is really cool. It's my favorite of their July 4th programs, but it's historic games. So they kind of go through, because it is America 250, obviously we're looking back at the history. So they have all these old fashioned games from, decades and decades plus ago that the kids get to play. There's a flag craft. They learn about the North Carolina flag. There's an opportunity to learn about the battles that are kind of happen in this area. So they have a lot
like
of fun.
The over mountain trails and the
Exactly,
Revolutionary battles that happen in the region. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have 3 programs each day. And then on Sunday, the 5th, we are going to retire the American flag that will fly on the chimney through the 250th anniversary. So
Cool.
there'll be a retirement ceremony. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. And I think it's going to give folks, just something else to do that helps, them feel patriotic and be part of the celebration that weekend.
Right. I have to add that if you've never been to a flag retirement ceremony, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's a very simple ceremony, but a really important one, respecting the flag and kind of committing the end of its flying life. But it doesn't mean that flag won't find useful life. It might be mounted or it might be set aside for display, but that's pretty cool that the flag that flies over Chimney Rock during the 250th anniversary will find a permanent home close by, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure. And we're not 100% quite sure where that is, but there's so many new buildings and, new things coming online that I know that it will find a special place.
Right. There's a tremendous energy in Chimney Rock Village these days in Lake Lure and at Chimney Rock Park because y'all have come through an awful lot. But I think it's, for me, the most powerful example of resiliency and the American spirit and the community spirit when folks really band together to make good things happening. I came through recently and I got out and walked and it's like, whoa, there is a lot of construction going on here, which I celebrate, it's just great to see it happening and things coming back to life. It's very exciting. Emily, what else would you share with our audience about Chimney Rock Park? The park has been there and open to the public since when?
Well, officially 1916. July 4th, actually, 1916 was the grand open, and then as that history goes, a few days later was a 100-year flood and that original bridge, they lost it then. So that's,
So stop right there. Folks don't know that aren't from this area, but there was a historic flood like 4 days after the park opened for the very first time. Took the bridge out. And as we have done in the last year, a new bridge had to be built and kind of starting again. So
Yes.
there's some history there that says, goodness gracious, this is precious territory and we've got to protect it.
It is, and, though, when you look back, you're like, "You know what? They could do this in 1916. We can do
Yes,
this now." And I think
absolutely.
it gave a
Yeah.
lot of extra strength, and so, officially, that was the opening date, though, was July 4th, 1960, even though really people were accessing it, prior to that on their own.
Right. And it was privately owned for most of its life. The Morse family, boy, we owe them a debt of gratitude
Yes.
for preserving this incredible park. How many acres is it?
As what we call the attraction piece of the state park was 996 when they sold to the state back in 2007. So, and now the state park it's altogether is over 7,000 acres, but it's
Yeah.
not contiguous. It's in different pieces throughout the
Right.
gorge.
I think that's important for folks to understand. The Morse family, literally for this century, were the protectors, the stewards of this property. 2007, they sold it to the state of North Carolina. And very importantly, that ensures its preservation forever. And since that time, the state has acquired additional properties, which really protects it. And as you said, several thousand acres that allows for this to continue to be an important habitat and natural area of the state of North Carolina. Is it the largest aggregate area of a state park in North Carolina?
I think I want to say South Mountains might be. I don't keep up honestly like I should with the different sizes. But, for the one thing unique about this state park is we're in a town.
Yes.
Usually to get to a state park, you drive a good ways outside of any sort of business district or a town. This town and Lake Lure too depend directly on us as we depend on them. And it is
Yes.
a package deal.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, nobody knows where our boundaries are. They
Right.
come for to do something, throughout a weekend, throughout a week. And so it does make us a little bit unique
It
and
does.
different than most state parks here in North Carolina.
I think that thank you for bringing that up because for families that are coming, in a lot of cases, you've got to pack your lunch, you've got to take everything with you. But the reality is, you can have an entire day's experience. In fact, you can spend several days in the Hickory Nut Gorge and include visits or multiple visits to the park, an opportunity to go to Lake Lure, to visit the shops. So there's more to do than a lot of folks would find going to a typical park.
I think there's just so much to do here in the gorge.
Yeah.
Outside of course, we want everyone to come out, hike, enjoy the outdoors. We want to plant that seed of stewardship, right? That's our goal. But I mean, you can go have a great hamburger downtown on Main Street. You can go shopping. There's wonderful shops. And the lake reopening is huge because it's hot, it's summer, kids want to swim, boat
Right.
tours are back open. There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Lots
Yeah.
to do.
Have we missed anything, Emily, that folks ought to know about the park or anything that you would share about the journey you've had over 20 years with the park, right? You
Yes.
came early as an educator and a member of the education team, and now you manage the assets there. Anything you would add?
No, actually today is I was just looking at that. It's my 21st anniversary today
Happy
at the park.
anniversary.
Thank you, thank you. No, I do wanna make sure people know we are completely open, check our website sometimes if there's a tree down or something, but all the trails have reopened. We definitely had a phased reopening. There was a big elevator repair that had to happen before we could get open, and so I think, there was just so much information out there, but the elevator's back online, all the trails are back open, both the shops are open, the deli, so lots to do in the park, and
Okay.
then, and watch the village page because every day something else is coming back.
That's
And it's
awesome.
really,
Give
really
us your
exciting.
website, Emily. How
So
can they learn more?
the park website is chimneyrockpark.com.
All right, very easy to remember. We'll
Yes,
put it
yes.
also in our comments and so that you can see it there. I'll also put Chimney Rock Park, the village, there as well as Lake Lure so folks can really understand the entire Hickory Nut Gorge. I know this that Chimney Rock Park was the site of The Last of the Mohegans, right? If
Yes,
folks love that
yes.
movie, it was filmed at Chimney Rock. And maybe there were others. Have there been other films there?
There was one, this I can't believe I can't remember the name of it, a fire starter that, part of it was filmed down at the historic gate site, and then, of course, Dirty Dancing, which is
Yes,
my favorite movie of all times, was partially filmed down at Lake Lure, so,
that's right.
yes, a lot of cinema history here in the village.
Yep, and I just gotta believe more to come because it's one of the most beautiful places on this planet Earth, in my opinion,
I
and
agree.
one of the places that from a biodiversity standpoint is just luscious. It's luscious.
Absolutely.
And it's so important that we preserve it, that we're good stewards of it. And I'm so grateful, Emily, for your personal commitment to the stewardship of that
Uh,
park and to the
well,
entire
thank you.
gorge. So grateful. Just another great woman in Western North Carolina doing amazing things. And
Well,
I'm
thank
so
you.
thankful for you, Emily, and for your commitment to ensure that for generations to come, they're going to have the chance to love Chimney Rock Park like we all do.
Well, thank you. We're very grateful to you and for all of your support through all of this. We
Thank
could
you.
not have done it without partners like you.
Well, we're all in it together, and we're still
Yes,
in it
yes,
together,
yes.
and we'll continue to be. Folks, check out the entire podcast, but we'll also put information about the summer activities that are at Chimney Rock Park. If you've never been, you need to go. And if you've been, it's time to go again. Seriously, maybe your children are grown and you say, why would I go to Chimney Rock Park? You can just go and take a hike. They're all levels, so you can take easy hikes and you can take more challenging hikes. You can take your grandkids, you can take your children. You can take your friends that are in just for the weekend, or just go by yourself and enjoy a little quiet and the beauty of God's good earth. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for joining us this week for the Sharon Decker podcast, where, once again, we've shared what we love, where we love, and the people we love in Western North Carolina. Join us next week, too. And in the meantime, you'll find us at SharonDecker.com or on Instagram at TheSharonDecker.